1975 Chrysler Imperial. Kicking off our list at number 9 is the 1975 Chrysler Imperial, a luxury flagship that arrived at the absolute worst time. This behemoth stretched over 230 inches long and weighed nearly 5,000 pounds, representing traditional American luxury just as buyers were abandoning it. The only engine option was a 440 cubic inch V8 that delivered adequate power but consumed fuel at catastrophic rates. Owners regularly reported single-digit fuel economy during normal driving, making it extremely expensive to operate as gas prices remained high throughout 1975. Chrysler's financial difficulties directly impacted build quality. Electrical systems failed regularly, paint application was inconsistent with premature fading and peeling, and mechanical components showed inadequate quality control. Despite the premium pricing, interior materials felt cheaper than expected. Seats lacked proper support, and trim pieces loosened or fell off entirely. The styling looked outdated compared to contemporary luxury cars. By year's end, Chrysler discontinued the Imperial nameplate entirely, unable to justify continued production of a car few buyers wanted. 1979 Ford LTD. At number 8 is the 1979 Ford LTD, a newly downsized full-size sedan that should have been competitive but fell short in critical areas. Ford finally responded to GM's successful downsizing, but the execution had serious flaws. In comparison testing against the Chevrolet Caprice, the LTD consistently performed worse across multiple measurements. Acceleration was slower despite similar engine sizes, and fuel economy disappointed given the car's reduced dimensions and weight. Most concerning was braking performance. The LTD required 66 feet more stopping distance than the Caprice in 60-0 testing, representing a dangerous deficiency in a critical safety system. Interior quality varied dramatically depending on trim level. Base models featured cheap-looking materials, manual windows, and minimal equipment that seemed out of place in a full-size Ford. 1975 Chevrolet Caprice. Number 7 is the 1975 Chevrolet Caprice, representing the final year before GM's successful downsizing program. This massive full-size sedan was America's best-selling large car for years, but the 1975 model had specific quality control problems that frustrated owners. The Caprice suffered from paint defects that became apparent within the first year of ownership. Clear coat peeling affected roof panels and rocker panels particularly, with some vehicles showing bare metal within 2 years. Interior materials degraded quickly. Seat upholstery required rebuilding after minimal use, and vinyl surfaces cracked prematurely. The electrical system had a peculiar problem involving the windshield-mounted antenna. When windshield wipers operated during rain, they crossed over the antenna and created severe static that made radio reception impossible. This design flaw affected all-weather driving and required expensive antenna relocation to resolve. Engine maintenance revealed unusual problems. Spark plugs required replacement every 8,000 miles, approximately half the normal service interval.
1974 Chrysler New Yorker Brougham, a vehicle that combined almost every problem plaguing 1970s American cars into one expensive package. This massive sedan debuted with completely new slab-sided styling, arriving just as the 1973 oil embargo devastated sales of large cars. At over 230 inches long and weighing well over 4,500 pounds, it was powered by the 440 cubic inch V8, producing 230 horsepower, but struggled to achieve even 10 miles per gallon in real-world driving. The timing couldn't have been worse. Buyers were fleeing large cars, just as Chrysler had invested heavily in designing these behemoths from the ground up. Quality control was a persistent problem. Owners reported rattles, vibrations, electrical failures, and inconsistent fit and finish throughout the vehicle. Performance was sluggish despite the large engine, as emissions controls choked power output while making engines prone to stalling and difficult starting. Maintenance costs were astronomical given the complex features and poor reliability. 1976 Cadillac DeVille. Number 5 is the 1976 Cadillac DeVille, the final year of Cadillac's largest full-size platform before the successful downsizing of 1977. Measuring 230.7 inches in length and riding on a 130-inch wheelbase, this massive sedan was powered by the 500 cubic inch V8, producing between 190 and 215 horsepower, depending on configuration. At over $9,000, it was positioned as a premium luxury sedan, but the DeVille suffered from significant reliability issues that tarnished Cadillac's reputation. Owners reported electrical system problems ranging from malfunctioning power windows to faulty lighting and failed electronic components. The cooling system was particularly troublesome, with many cars experiencing overheating issues and coolant leaks that plagued owners throughout their ownership. Mechanical reliability was inconsistent, with transmission problems and suspension concerns being commonly reported. The enormous 500 cubic inch engine achieved fuel economy of less than 9 miles per gallon on average, making it expensive to operate during the energy crisis. 1976 Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham. At number 4 is the 1976 Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham, the largest car Cadillac ever produced. This luxury sedan stretched an incredible 233.7 inches in length and rode on a 130-inch wheelbase, powered by the 500 cubic inch V8, producing 190 horsepower and 360 pound-feet of torque. At over $10,000, it was Cadillac's ultimate statement of luxury and prestige. But size and presence couldn't compensate for the quality problems that plagued owners. The sheer dimensions created practical problems beyond fuel consumption. Parking was difficult in most locations, and the turning radius made urban driving challenging. Electrical systems were problematic, with failures affecting everything from power accessories to gauge clusters. The electronic fuel injection system, optional on some models, was particularly troublesome and often required complete replacement rather than repair. Paint quality was inconsistent across production, with many cars developing premature clear coat failure and others showing poor adhesion that led to peeling. Interior materials showed quality issues despite the luxury positioning. Leather developed cracks prematurely, and electronic climate controls failed regularly.
Number 3 is the Plymouth Volare. Rushed into production 6 months ahead of schedule, skipping crucial testing phases that would have identified serious problems. Within just 2 years of launch, the 1976 models had been recalled 8 times by federal safety regulators for issues ranging from emission system failures to fuel leaks and defective seatbelts. The Volare became one of the most recalled vehicles in automotive history up to that point. The most visible disaster was premature fender rust, affecting every single front fender on over 1 million 1976 to 77 models. Each vehicle required inspection, fender removal, replacement or galvanization, and complete repainting, costing Chrysler $109 million. Additional recalls addressed hoods that wouldn't latch properly, engines that stalled during acceleration, suspension and brake components suffering premature fatigue and failure, missing muffler heat shields and leaking fuel hoses. The massive recall costs, reaching several billion dollars, contributed directly to Chrysler's near bankruptcy by 1978 and required a federal bailout to survive. At number 2 is the 1976 Dodge Aspen, named Motor Trend Car of the Year, but quickly becoming notorious as one of the most recalled vehicles in automotive history. Chrysler rushed the Aspen into production 6 months early to generate desperately needed cash flow, turning first-year buyers into unwitting testers for an incomplete product. The most expensive defect was premature fender rust, affecting every single 1976 and 1977 Aspen produced. Chrysler had eliminated galvanization and inner fender liners to reduce costs, and exposed metal corroded rapidly. Some vehicles showed rust through within months in northern climates.
This forced Chrysler to recall over 1 million vehicles for front fender inspection and possible replacement, costing the company $109 million during a period when it could barely afford such expenses. Beyond rust, the Aspen suffered from at least 8 serious safety recalls in the first model year alone. Hoods didn't latch properly and could fly open while driving. Engines stalled without warning at intersections and during highway merging. Seatbelt tensioners failed to secure occupants properly. Suspension and brake components showed premature fatigue and failure. And at number 1, the 1978 Oldsmobile Delta 88 with the catastrophic diesel engine, one of the greatest automotive disasters in American history. GM rushed this 350 cubic inch diesel V8 to market, producing just 120 horsepower and 220 pound-feet of torque. The problems were legendary and catastrophic. GM engineers based the diesel on their gasoline V8 architecture, using the same head bolt pattern designed for much lower compression ratios. The insufficient head bolts stretched and broke under diesel's higher cylinder pressures, leading to blown head gaskets that allowed coolant to leak into cylinders, causing complete engine destruction. GM omitted a water separator from the fuel system to save costs, causing widespread corrosion in injection pumps and fuel lines. Timing chains stretched, retarding engine timing and causing poor performance, smoke, and hard starting. When engines failed, and they did with alarming regularity, repair costs often exceeded $2,000.